Company logos are interesting, aren't they? They are there to show off what company has made the show or movie you have just watched. Some of our logos are quite memorable, and sometimes even nice to look at, however some are not. Starting off with a fairly tame one, this logo from a company called United Movie Makers starts off fairly nice, but the sudden change in music, which becomes more sinister, may catch some people off guard. While the music loses its sinister touch near the end, it still doesn't change the fact we know what we heard. Not much to say visually about this one. It looks like we're looking up into space, or rather in space. I imagine that people actually seen this logo in space would probably scare them. The next logo is AKA Cartoon, which are well known for creating the hit cartoon series Ed, Edd and Eddy, a personal favourite of mine. Something that isn't is their logo. While there is no movement in this logo, which I think is a good thing, I wouldn't want to see this thing moving. What we do see is still disturbing, and I'm still not sure what it is. I can make out a face and a pencil at the top of its head, the arms and legs, or maybe they're just hands. From the looks of it, this creature seems to lack any form of a body. While there are many variations of this logo, the thing in the middle always remains the same. There's even a bloody variant of this logo. Easily one of the cheesiest logos on this list, Sinister Cinema tries to have a semi-scary logo, and I think they succeed in doing so. When you combine all the cheesiness of this logo together, you actually do get quite a scary, unsettling logo. From the incredibly fake bat to the equally fake blood, not to mention the music as well. This is strangely a very off-putting logo. Strange, isn't it? Another cheesy logo on this list, this time from Portugal. While not visually scary as the previous logo, the music in this one, while still cheesily, is equally off-putting, which is the main reason I put Trans Video ahead of Sinister Cinema. If the imagery in this logo was more sinister, we could have had a really scary logo that could be higher up on this list. Do I really need to explain why this is scary? Similar to the AKA cartoon logo, there is no movement in this logo, but unlike the AKA cartoon logo, the audio is what gives this logo its scare factor. It's just dogs barking, but they sound sad, and it goes on for a long time. Too long. Not much to say about this one. The animation is a little frightening, the way it comes in from the left. But of course, the real scare factor in this logo is the quite drastic change in the tone of the music and how sudden it changes. Quite the interesting one we have here. It's scary, but also beautiful. It makes me feel scared, but also happy. I want to turn it off, but I also want to watch it over and over again. The decisions this logo takes is quite surreal. Why did they have a woman scream mixed in with funky music afterwards? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what was going through this company from Germany's heads when they made this. I'm not sure what kind of movies this company makes, and I'm not sure I want to know. Next, we have a logo from India made in the 1960s. Not much to say visually about this one. That is until the man shows up. While the growling noise this man makes is quite terrifying, and I think it's supposed to be a parody of the MGM logo, his laugh at the end, as well as his expression, is the stuff nightmares are made of. Maybe this logo is a nightmare. Not all nightmares start off bad, they get worse as they go on, especially at the end, usually when you wake up. And at the end of this logo, the man just disappeared. I'm pretty sure you know which part of this logo I'm going to talk about, mainly because it's basically the only part worth talking about. The rest of this logo is actually quite nice and enjoyable, but those eyes at the start, they're looking right at you, and they look scared, concerned, maybe even a little angry. This one is interesting, and of course, scary. Not because of what we see, no. I'm more interested in how this logo came to existence. How do you design something like this? How do you plan something like this? And more importantly, Why does something like this exist? This next one is similar to the Fat Dog Productions logo due to the fact that this logo tends to stick around longer than it really should. It starts off in space, I assume, much like the very first logo in this list, but there's nothing on screen for a good few seconds, apart from that droning music that sounds kind of like a spaceship. It's pretty unsettling, but thankfully the logo comes in relatively soon, and everything seems to be fine for a bit, then the logo just disappears, and we're stuck looking into the vast emptiness of space. If we stick around longer, will the logo come back? Next, we have a logo from my homeland, Ulster to be precise. They've had many different variants of their logos throughout the years, but this one was one of the first, and it definitely stands out. Like most of the logos in this list, you feel a sense of dread watching this when you really shouldn't. This logo looks nothing like their future logos as well, which is kind of a bit disturbing. Where did this come from? What exactly is this? I'm not so sure. This next logo is from Motorola, of all people, the company most famously known for their telephones. They actually did make movies and TV shows, although I'm not sure if they still do. The famous Motorola logo seems to be getting closer and closer to the viewer, but thankfully near the end, or should I say, before it gets you, it stops. Who knows what would have happened if it didn't stop. What to say about this logo? It's beautiful, peaceful even, but the way the logo just sort of spins rapidly, then off into the vast emptiness of space makes you wonder, why did it go away and will it come back? Maybe. Is there anything more off-putting than a swastika with sinister music? Well, of course there is, but I think you struggled to find some. I remember this one fondly from my childhood. The vast majority of videos I owned were published by BCI, and unfortunately, that meant I had to sit through this logo every time I watched one of my favourite shows. The very grey, bleak background, only illuminated by that small light in the corner, what looks to be a planet or a spear in the background, and of course those horrifying three letters, and that terrifying red ball. This whole logo was just off-putting. Quite a familiar feel of this logo, a wild horse. Bet we've seen one of those before, but maybe not like this. As you clearly seen, a few seconds into this logo, the horse is struck by lightning, but that's not the scary part. The scary part is the noise he makes after being hit. The noise he makes is rather strange. It kind of implies, by listening to it, that the horse is still alive. Easily the most disturbing news network logo of all time. It makes you question and wonder what kind of news NBC were reporting at the time. I believe this logo was around in the 60s and the 70s. Why make a news station so sinister? A very simple one next. Just the words Fabrica, I think that's how you say it, appearing on screen. And then the eyes. Those horrible eyes open up and stare at you. What's most disturbing about this advert is not the eyes. No. Well, it sort of is. It looks like those eyes belong to two separate people, which is the really scary part. Easily one of the most mesmerizing logos on this list. It looks like we're going through some type of a tunnel or falling through curtains. I'm not quite sure. The music mixed with the trippy visuals makes this a very off-putting advert. It's almost like we're in some kind of a trance while watching this. I wonder if you were to watch this logo many times, multiple times even back to back, what would happen? A very simple logo now. There's no bullshit with this one. It's just a bunny rabbit standing there, staring at you with those large, empty, soulless eyes. Terrifying. Just when you think things couldn't get worse, the camera pans back to reveal he's biting a snake of some kind. You would think most snakes would be able to overpower a rabbit, providing they catch him of course, but apparently this snake was unlucky. Or maybe this rabbit was too powerful. Next, we have a logo from France, more specifically the Infogamers logo that was used on the popular PC game Alone in the Dark. The large Thunderstrike, as well as the armadillo-like creature turning from a 2D image to a full 3D model, is definitely very unsettling and probably caught a few people off guard while they were playing this game. kind of cheating with this one. While I was looking for some logos on YouTube, I came across this one called Edward Small Productions. But something went horribly wrong with the video. It started to shake frantically as you're seeing, well, as you just saw. This is not part of the original logo. To the best of my knowledge, it just stands there. However, even without the error, this logo standing still is still a bit off-putting. Those big large letters, those searchlights and those clouds, which is worse, the logo itself standing there, unmoving, but the one shaking frantically. I'm not so sure. I don't want to look at it anymore. Another really scary logo from a company that likes to make VHS tapes and DVDs for children's shows. Carlton Video, this whole logo is just unpleasant. Seeing the big letters fly across the screen frantically, those horrifying sound effects, and of course that blood red background. Who designed this? What I think is scary about this logo is not the animation, the visuals, or even the music. The scariest thing about this logo is what we don't see. You can clearly see this company is called Castle Vision, but where is the castle? Aardman Animations are known for creating, well, animation, most of which the whole family can enjoy. I wonder if they had that in mind when they created this monstrosity. The very dark, almost dirty colour scheme, mixed with the slow animation, and that horrifying way the guy's chin comes into picture, as well as the final two music notes at the end of it. Kinda bizarre that the company that made Wallace and Gromit also made this. And if I remember correctly, this logo was on right before my VHS tape of Wallace and Gromit, A Close Shave.
No problem.
I'm still not really sure what this one is. It's obviously a logo or an ident for YTV, but what exactly happened here? It sounds like a loud screech or maybe even a yay. Then someone says, no problem. Well, I'm sorry, I think there is a problem. This next one is from a friend's studio called, well, Studio Canal. It's actually a pretty fine logo. In fact, Studio Canal's current logo is a thing of beauty, and I recommend you watch it. But this one from the early 2000s, it's fine. Literally up until the last second, we hear that horrifying noise. It sounds like a monster, but surely it couldn't. I remember this one. I remember this one well. I wish I didn't, but I do. My old Warner Brothers cartoon tapes. Much like the previous one, the Studio Canal logo, the ending of this one is still pretty disturbing. I still think the noise of the previous logo is scarier, but the way the music just stops and lingers on screen, the logo that is, for 2 or 3 seconds. It always put me off as a child. Why didn't it stop when the music stopped? Why did it continue? Some people, from what I've heard, find the animation, well, the computer animation, scary. I don't think the animation in this is bad, but I can see why people would be put off by it. But why must it linger on more than it should? Why not just stop? Another childhood logo, this time from Abbey Media. There's going to be a lot more childhood logos coming up soon. I remember when I was really young, about 5 or maybe 6, maybe even 4. I had these really young kids tapes, really young. Most of which were published by Abbey. I think it was a Kipper cartoon, I'm not so sure, but they always started with this logo, the Abbey Home Media, followed by the Tempo logo, usually back to back. I could never decide which was worse, both of them on their own are okay, apart from the Abbey one, but together, I always hated seeing those two. I'm pretty sure most people recognize this logo, mostly from watching the Rugrats, whether you remember it fondly or not. I certainly remember it. I'm not sure if I want to. The way the face just appears on screen and speaks something was always off-putting as a child, but I always wanted to know what he was saying. I found out later, after doing some research, that he's saying the company name. That literally comes right out of his mouth. But as a child, I always thought he was saying costumes are bubble. I don't know why. More childhood, please just go away. Probably thought I was going to use the Deke animation, landed off the child in the bed, looking out the window, see a massive Deke outside. But no, I'm going for one of their earlier logos. It doesn't matter which variant. I just felt that the old logo of Deke didn't say Deke. To me, sometimes it looks like it says die. This next one's very interesting. It's clearly a parody of the Warner Brothers Shield, but unlike the Warner Brothers Shield, this one just feels wrong, even evil. The way the shield moves towards the camera is easily the scariest part. It doesn't move in a straight line, which worries me the most. It's almost like this logo is alive. When someone comes walking towards you, he may not walk in a perfectly straight line, whether it's a human or an animal. That's what worries me the most. I hope it doesn't come any closer, but thankfully it stops before he gets there. But who knows? Saying English Channel Bravo's channel identifications were scary and odd are definitely an understatement. They were downright horrifying, as if they were crafted by the devil himself, and they have many variations. The more I look at this one, the more I see, the more I wish I didn't see. I would like to say this would be the end of Bravo clips in this video, but they'll come back. I tried my best when making this list not to have actual horror companies in this logo, because, well, they're supposed to be scary, aren't they? Despite primarily being a horror film company, as Ghost House Pictures are, this one still scared me. Similar to the Golden Dragon logo, the way the skull flies in, not dead centrally, sort of off to the side, then comes in the middle. Thankfully, like Ghost Dragon, it stops before it gets any further, but who knows. Next, we have the oldest logo on this list. I think it's from India, I'm not quite sure. This logo is just a woman in the middle of the screen, looking around the place, seemingly greeting people, almost as if she is some kind of royalty. At one point in the video, it almost looks like she's staring directly at us. The bizarre imagery mixed with the music makes this logo strangely beautiful, but also terrifying. I know I've said that quite a lot in this video, but this one deserves it the most. It's a pleasure to watch this logo, but at the same time it's also kind of a burden, an odd choice for a film production company. Back to childhood again, this time with the media emergence. As you can see, was very short. Probably wondering what scared me about this, and why I put it here. Well, it's cause of that noise. It always put me off. I always hated it, and dreaded hearing it at the end of every Art Attack episode. I always knew it was coming, but still always put me off. It doesn't scare me anymore, but I still don't like hearing it. It does sound kinda like a ruler. I don't know why it scares me so much, but even the logo itself, staring at it now, the way that the seems to be bent over, still makes me. If there was one logo I would hate to be trapped in for eternity, it would have to be this one, Fangoria, with a lovely name. If you look very closely, it looks like we're in a library of sorts, or a place where books are held, or maybe we're in a long hallway, or maybe we're not. That could just be a mirror in the background, reflecting this room over and over again, making it seem like we're in a hallway. And the way the words Fangoria just appear from out of darkness down the end of that hallway, if it is one, it's terrifying. Where are we? What are we? What am I looking at? I don't know. I just want to leave. In terms of the music featured in this one, it's easily the most off-putting of every logo on this list, even the ones we've yet to show. It just makes you feel very uncomfortable, mixed with the slow animation and just the horrible off-putting, just everything about it. But the weirdest thing about this logo is the origin. This company was founded by none other than Paul McCartney himself, mostly following his business interests after his post-Beatles work. I wonder what was going through his head when he made this, that is, if he made this. When most people think of Teletoon, I doubt this comment anyway. You're probably wondering, how could Teletoon do this? Well, from what I've gathered, this was used late at night, when they would stop airing children's programs and start airing adult-themed content, which makes sense to an extent, but what would happen if a child stayed up too late and seen this horrifying animation? It's one of the few channels you'd expect to show this. Any kid that didn't see this, I doubt they ever look at Teletoon the same way ever again. And even though I seen this for the very first time when I was an adult, I still don't look at them the same way that I used to. Are there any words to describe this? Can I find any? Does it deserve any? Shall we watch it again? No. Let's pretend we never saw that. But we can't. I have seen it. Now you've seen it. We'll never forget it. We're going to Wales for this next one, from Jester Interactive, who I believe are still around. I've checked their game library. From what I can tell, it's nothing spectacular. A few alright games. I would explain what's going on, but I simply don't want to. And can it be explained? What disturbs me the most is what happens after the Jester supposedly dies. We still hear his laugh. Is he truly dead? I shouldn't dare talk about this one. It doesn't deserve words. Just watch it. It's quite long, but believe me, it's worth watching. I told you Bravo would return, didn't I? Bet you didn't expect Bravo to return like that. And I don't think Trouble wanted return to Bravo. Look at it. Look at the way the logo, the Trouble logo, twists and distorts. It's like it's fighting that evil channel Bravo. It's like it doesn't want to become Bravo, and it's trying its very best to stop it. But unfortunately, Trouble can't seem to fight off for long, and becomes that evil channel Bravo. Well, at least their logos are. This is one channel switchover I don't want to see ever again. Until but thankfully, that's the end of Bravo. Another overly scary logo on a children's network of all things. Wonder what the people at NEC were thinking. The scariest part about this logo isn't the fact that he eats the camera, no, it's what he does before that. That stare, and with his eyes enlarge when he sees us. He knows we're there. It's kind of odd that I think the scariest thing about this advert is the stare, rather than the actual bite. But we do see the Nickelodeon logo, so I guess that makes things better, I think. You usually associate Nickelodeon with kids and happiness and stuff like that, but that stare is just horrifying. There's no bullshit of this logo. There's no animation, no scary music, nothing. Just a dead panda. From the looks of things, he didn't die so peacefully. We can see all over the floor parts of his corpse, pieces of body, arms, legs, all over the floor, even his head. Well, at the very top, we see what looks like his hands that seem to be tied up and are still hanging up there. It's likely the full body of the panda, when he was alive, was tied up. It's likely he was tortured to death. Who knows what they did to him? Did they cut off his legs one by one? Did they stab him a number of times? Or did they just leave them there to slowly die, and his body parts just fell off as time went by? Who knows? All we know is that panda is dead. Easily my biggest childhood nightmare BBC video. Earlier I mentioned, when I was talking about the Aardman logo, I had a VHS copy of Wallace and Gromit A Close Shave, and while the Aardman logo appeared in that video, so did this one shortly after. I remember as a child putting the video on after it rewound at the start, then sprinting out of the room for about 30 seconds, so I didn't have to watch those two horrifying logos. Sometimes I would hang by the door with my ear against it, and I would still hear that jingle. I came back too early. I should have waited longer. Sometimes I wait too long and the episode's already begun, which is fine. I've seen Wallace and Gromit many times. I can miss the first 3 seconds, it's fine. Wait a minute, wait 2, wait 3. I just don't want to see it. The tempo sounds like something bad has happened. What bad thing happened? What is this? Why is it so dark? Why is BBC so sinister? Well, I may be cheating with this one. It's not even really a logo, is it? It's just words. If you grew up, like me, with the likes of Windows 95 and Windows 98, computers didn't shut down like they used to when I was growing up. You would still click start, then shut down, and then you would get this message after a while. At this point, you would push the off button on your desktop, and your computer would turn off. When I was a kid, I always hated this. I wish my computer would just turn off like most modern computers do now. You click shut down and it will shut down eventually. You could just leave the room. It'll be turned off. Go straight to bed, go in another room, go watch TV, do anything. But you had to do it yourself. As a child, I always turned off the monitor first, so I didn't have to see those words, those horrifying orange words on the screen. It always put me off and upset me. I always resisted against turning off the computer. I'm thankful Microsoft stopped doing this, thankfully. But as a child, it always looked like those words were moving. Not rapidly, no, just slightly up and down. barely visible. From afar you wouldn't notice it, but up close, like you're on a chair in front of a computer, you would see it. Maybe it was just me. Maybe it was my old CRT monitor. I'm not sure. But the scariest thing about this is the words itself. It is now safe to turn off your computer. All the previous logos in this list, regardless of how long they are or how scary they are, they all have one thing in common. They stop when they've done their part by showing you the company who made this program or news report or video game. They will go away. They've done their part. They no longer need to stay. But this logo won't go away until you do as it commands. It's almost like it has a power over you. It knows you don't like it, and it probably doesn't like you. But if you do as it says, it will go away and leave you alone until the next time you shut down. Then he would go away for a bit. But he would come back, even if you turned off the monitor like I did. I knew for a fact he was still there, still watching me, still staring at me. To this day I'm afraid to go near an old computer. Why don't you just turn off? I don't want to see you. I don't know what you want from me. I guess there's only one thing left to do. Do as it says. Then he'll go away.